The unfailing presence in difficult times is one of the greatest assurances we can hold on to in life. No one is exempt from hardship, whether it be the pain of loss, the weight of financial struggles, the sting of betrayal, or the silent battles of the heart. Life has a way of bringing unexpected challenges that test our strength, shake our confidence, and at times make us feel utterly alone. But let me remind you today, no matter what you are facing, there is one who never leaves your side. Think for a moment about those times when you felt abandoned, when friends turned away, or when even those closest to you could not understand the depth of your pain. In those moments, the loneliness can feel overwhelming. You might ask yourself, does anyone see what I am going through? Does anyone truly care? The answer is yes. There is someone who sees every tear, who understands every unspoken word, and who is standing by your side even when you feel invisible to the world. This presence is not temporary, not conditional, and not based on circumstances. It is unwavering, faithful, and steadfast. People, no matter how well-intentioned, will sometimes fail us. They may forget promises, distance themselves in difficult times, or be unable to offer the support we need. But this partner never fails. When the world turns its back, he remains. When you feel you have reached the end of your strength, he offers his. When you are burdened by sorrow, he is the one who lifts your head and reminds you that you are never alone. We often look for comfort in things that cannot truly satisfy, temporary distractions, material possessions, or the approval of others. But none of these provide the kind of peace and assurance that comes from knowing you are never abandoned. This divine presence is not something that can be lost or taken away. No situation is too dark, no mistake too great, and no sorrow too deep that it can separate you from the one who walks beside you. There may be times when you feel as if your prayers go unheard, as if your cries for help are met with silence, but let me assure you, just because you do not see immediate change does not mean you are alone. Sometimes in the silence, you are being taught to trust. Sometimes in the waiting, you are being strengthened. And sometimes in the pain, you are being prepared for something greater than you can see. Consider the stories of those who have faced great trials, yet found strength not in their circumstances, but in the presence of their divine companion. Those who walked through fire, yet were not consumed, who faced loss, yet found restoration, who endured hardship, yet emerged stronger, all share one common truth: they were never truly alone. The same is true for you. No matter how difficult your journey, you do not walk it alone. When fear grips your heart, when anxiety clouds your mind, when sadness feels unbearable, you must remind yourself of this truth. There is one who never wavers, never tires, and never forsakes you. This is the presence that carries you when you cannot walk, strengthens you when you are weak, and gives you peace even in the middle of chaos. Think of the darkest night. It may feel endless, but morning always comes. The sun always rises even after the longest storm. In the same way, your difficult season will not last forever. The presence that is with you now is also the one leading you forward, guiding you toward a future filled with hope. Even when you cannot see the way ahead, trust that you are being led with purpose, with love, and with unwavering faithfulness. No matter where you are in life today, whether in a season of hardship or peace, hold on to this truth: you are never alone. The unfailing presence that has carried you through the past will continue to sustain you. In your darkest hours, in your greatest sorrows, and in your weakest moments, you have a partner who is steadfast, faithful, and true. Hold on to him and you will find strength that never runs dry, peace that surpasses understanding, and a love that never fails. The power of trust and surrender is one of the most transformative principles in life, yet it is also one of the hardest to grasp. When we face trials, our natural instinct is to take control, to fix things ourselves, to carry the burden alone. We believe that if we just try harder, plan better, or push through with our own strength, we can solve our problems. But more often than not, our efforts leave us exhausted, frustrated, and feeling even more powerless than before. This is because we were never meant to bear the weight of life's challenges on our own. True peace, true freedom, and true strength come not from striving, but from trusting and surrendering to the one who holds all things in his hands. Trust is not easy. It requires letting go of the need to understand everything, the desire to control the outcome, and the fear of what might happen if we release our grip. Many people hesitate to trust fully because they have been disappointed before. Perhaps you have placed your confidence in someone who let you down, or maybe life circumstances have made you question whether anything is truly reliable. But trust in this divine companion is different. He does not fail, he does not abandon, and he does not make mistakes. His wisdom is perfect, his ways are higher than ours, and his plans are always for our good, even when we cannot see it in the moment. Surrendering does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It is not about neglecting responsibility or avoiding action. Instead, it is a deliberate choice to place everything, your worries, your fears, your plans, into the hands of the one who knows what is best for you. It is releasing the need to control the future and instead resting in the assurance that you are being guided by someone who loves you beyond measure. This kind of surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of great strength. It takes faith to trust when you do not have all the answers. It takes courage to let go when your instinct is to hold on tightly. And it takes wisdom to recognize that there is a greater purpose at work, even in your struggles. There are times when we may think we know what is best for our lives. We may set goals, make plans, and pursue our own desires, only to find that things do not turn out the way we expected. In these moments, we may feel frustrated, disappointed, or even abandoned. But what if, instead of resisting, we chose to trust that there is something greater unfolding? What if, instead of seeing obstacles as failures, we saw them as redirections towards something better? One of the greatest challenges in trusting and surrendering is learning to wait. Waiting is not easy, especially when we are longing for an answer, a breakthrough, or a resolution. But waiting is not wasted time. It is often in the waiting that we grow the most. It is in the waiting that we develop patience, endurance, and deeper faith. It is in the waiting that we learn to rely not on our own strength, but on the one who is always working behind the scenes, even when nothing seems to be changing, even when the answers seem delayed. We can trust that there is a reason, a purpose, and a perfect timing that is beyond our understanding. Surrendering also means accepting that sometimes what we want is not what is best for us. There are times when we pray for something, believing that it will bring happiness or security, only to later realize that it was never meant for us. The wisdom of our divine companion is far greater than our own. He sees what we cannot see, he knows what we cannot know, and when he closes a door, it is because he is leading us towards something far better. Even disappointments, even setbacks, even the moments that break our hearts, if surrendered into his hands, can be transformed into something beautiful. Perhaps today you are carrying a burden too heavy for you to bear. Maybe you have been trying to fix something that feels impossible to fix. Or maybe fear has gripped your heart because you do not know what the future holds. The answer is not to strive harder or worry more. The answer is to trust, to let go, to place your situation in the hands of the one who has never failed and never will. The moment you truly surrender is the moment you will experience a peace that surpasses all understanding. It does not mean the difficulties will disappear instantly, but it does mean that you no longer have to carry them alone. You are not meant to figure everything out on your own. You are not meant to have all the answers, but you are meant to trust in the one who does. And when you do, you will find that even in the most uncertain times, you can walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are being led by a hand that never lets go.
Encouragement through trials is one of the most important truths we must hold on to in life. Hardships are inevitable. No one is exempt from pain, loss, disappointment, or struggles. However, the way we respond to trials determines whether they will break us or shape us. Many people view suffering as something to be avoided at all costs, as if hardship is merely a detour from the path of life's blessings. But in reality, trials are often the very tools used to refine, strengthen, and transform us into who we are meant to be. There is no denying that pain is difficult. When we face adversity, it is easy to feel overwhelmed, discouraged, and even hopeless. We might question why we are going through such difficulty, why the burden feels so heavy, and why relief seems so far away. In these moments, it is natural to want to escape, to seek comfort in temporary distractions, or even to give up altogether. But if we can shift our perspective, if we can seek trials not as punishments, but as opportunities, we will begin to understand that there is purpose in our pain. No trial is meaningless. Every hardship carries within it the potential to teach us something valuable, whether it be patience, resilience, humility, or faith. Sometimes struggles reveal our weaknesses, not to shame us, but to show us where we need to grow. Other times they serve as reminders that we are not in control and that we must lean on the one who is. And often, the difficulties we endure are preparing us for something greater in the future, something we cannot yet see, but will one day understand. Consider the stories of those who have gone through tremendous suffering yet emerged stronger on the other side. They did not reach that place of strength because they avoided hardship, but because they faced it, endured it, and allowed it to shape them. The same can be true for you. Your trials are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to refine you, to teach you endurance, and to deepen your trust in the one who walks with you through every storm. One of the hardest things about going through a trial is feeling like you are alone in it. When pain strikes, it often isolates us. We may feel like no one truly understands what we are going through, or that others have abandoned us in our time of need. But the truth is, we are never alone. Even when it seems like no one else sees our struggle, there is one who does. He sees every tear, hears every unspoken cry, and knows the weight of the burden we are carrying. He does not promise that life will be without trials, but he does promise that we will never have to walk through them alone. When we face challenges, we often ask, why is this happening to me? But perhaps a better question is, what can I learn from this? Or how can this trial shape me into a stronger person? When we change our perspective on suffering, we begin to see that trials are not just obstacles, they are stepping stones. They are opportunities to develop a faith that is unshakable, a character that is refined, and a heart that is compassionate toward others who suffer. There is something powerful about coming through a difficult season and realizing that you are still standing. The pain you thought would break you did not. The storm you thought would overwhelm you did not. The fear that tried to consume you lost its power. Why? Because you were not alone. You were strengthened, upheld, and guided through the storm. And if you made it through that trial, you can make it through whatever comes next. Perhaps today you are in the middle of a hardship that feels unbearable. Maybe you are struggling with uncertainty, loss, or deep sorrow. The pain may seem endless and you may not see a way out, but take heart. This season will not last forever. You are being shaped, refined, and strengthened even in ways you cannot yet see. The pain may be deep, but so is the grace that is carrying you through it. Difficulties will come, but they do not have to defeat you. With the right perspective, trials can become the very thing that strengthens you, teaches you, and draws you closer to the one who never leaves you. Hold on, endure, and trust that one day you will look back and see that even in the hardest moments, you were never alone and your trials were never without purpose. The unshakable foundation of hope is one of the greatest gifts we can hold on to in life, especially in times of sorrow, uncertainty, and hardship. Hope is not just wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is a deep and abiding confidence that no matter what we face, there is a greater purpose, a greater plan, and a greater future ahead. It is the assurance that even in the darkest moments, we are not forgotten and our pain is not without meaning. When we go through trials, one of the greatest battles we face is against hopelessness. The enemy of hope is despair, and despair whispers that things will never change, that we will always feel broken, and that there is no way forward. It is in these moments that we must hold on to hope with all our strength, not because our circumstances make sense, but because we trust in the one who is in control. Hope is what allows us to take one more step when we feel like giving up. It is what keeps us going when everything in us wants to quit. Many people look for hope in temporary things, success, relationships, financial security, or even personal achievements. While these things may bring momentary happiness, they are not lasting sources of hope. They can be shaken, lost, or taken away. True hope, the kind that is unshakable, must be rooted in something far greater than the changing circumstances of life. It must be anchored in something eternal, something that remains steady no matter what storms come our way. Hope does not deny reality. It does not ignore pain, nor does it pretend that everything is fine when it is not. But hope sees beyond the present moment. It looks past the struggle and sees the promise of what is to come. It reminds us that suffering is temporary, that pain has a purpose, and that even in the midst of trials, something beautiful is being formed within us. One of the greatest truths about hope is that it is not dependent on how we feel. There will be days when we do not feel hopeful, when the weight of life is heavy, and when it seems like there is no light ahead. But hope is not an emotion, it is a choice. It is choosing to believe even when everything around us says otherwise. It is choosing to trust even when we do not see a way out. It is choosing to move forward even when fear tries to hold us back. Think about the challenges you have faced in your life. At the time, they may have seemed impossible to overcome. Yet here you are, still standing, still moving forward. The things that once seemed unbearable are now part of your testimony. They shaped you, strengthened you, and taught you things you never would have learned otherwise. This is why we must hold on to hope. It reminds us that we have survived before and that we will survive again. It reminds us that even when we do not see a way, there is a way. One of the greatest lies we can believe is that our pain will last forever. In the middle of suffering, it is easy to think that things will never change, that the sadness will never lift, or that we will never feel joy again. But nothing in this life is permanent, not even our struggles. Seasons change, wounds heal, and what feels unbearable today will one day be a distant memory. Hope is not just for ourselves. It is something we are meant to share with others. When we walk through difficult seasons and hold on to hope, we become a source of encouragement for those around us. We can look someone in the eye and say, I know what it feels like to hurt, but I also know that healing is possible. I know what it means to feel lost, but I also know that there is always a way forward. Our struggles are not just about us. They allow us to extend hope to others who may be going through the same battles. No matter what you are facing today, no matter how broken you feel, no matter how uncertain the future seems, hold on to hope. You may not see the answer yet, but that does not mean it is not coming. You may not feel the strength you need, but that does not mean it is not being given to you day by day. You may not understand why you are walking through this season, but one day you will look back and see that you were never alone, that you were being guided, and that hope carried you through. Hope is what keeps us moving forward. It is what reminds us that no matter how dark the night, morning will come. No matter how strong the storm, it will pass. And no matter how deep the pain, healing is possible. Hold on, do not give up, and trust that the future ahead is far greater than anything you have left behind. Hope is not just a feeling, it is a foundation. And when we build our lives on it, we can stand firm no matter what comes our way.